Tony Hawk is the gravity-defying California native who became a skateboarding icon. He first found himself on a board at 9 years old, and since turning pro at just 14, Hawk's name has become synonymous with the sport, and he's widely regarded as the best boarder ever. Starting several media ventures has seen Tony continue a successful business career, including his Pro Skater video games becoming one of the best-selling game franchises of all time. Retiring from the professional circuit at 31, Tony continues to skate and shows no signs of slowing down, as seen here, and here. As a skateboarder, entrepreneur and philanthropist, Tony is in Sydney to share his wealth of knowledge as part of Semi-Permanent 2014, a three-day conference and festival aimed at inspiring creativity from all fields.
Please welcome skateboarding legend Tony Hawk. Tony, we're so excited to speak to you. Rochi's a huge fan. Let's talk about your career. You turned pro at 14, but by 16 you were the best in the world. What's the secret? How do you become so good?
I was very determined at a young age to learn whatever I wanted or to do things I set out to do. But to be honest, at the time when I started skating and when I turned pro, it was a very small industry. So it didn't take that much to get recognized, or, you know, if you had any sort of success, you rose to the top very quickly. So when I turned pro at 14, it was the equivalent of being a pro yo-yoer in my school. No one really cared.
Tony, though, in the 90s, pro skateboarding fell out of fashion, I guess, and times were a bit tough. And you said that you had to get by on like a $5 a day budget. How do you rebuild from that?
Well, I really believed in skating, and I believed that it would come back in popularity. I never imagined it would be as big as it is now, but skating was always cyclical, and so I started my own skate company in 1992. But for the most part, I just loved skating, so it didn't matter to me if I was not making much money at it. The fact that I still got to do it for a living was my definition of success. But it was rough. I mean, I was doing skate exhibitions in parking lots 3 times a day for $100. Just to get by.
Well, you've certainly come a long way, Tony. I mean, you're the only person who's ever been invited to skate at the White House.
Well, I was invited to the White House, but they didn't expect me to skate.
Oh, really? That was a bit of improv, was it?
They weren't really that excited about that part of it, no.
Well, where is the coolest place you've skated before? Is it the White House?
Yeah, for sure. That was amazing. I mean, I brought my skateboard just because whenever I don't bring it somewhere, people inevitably ask me where it is. And so when I was invited to the White House, I was for sure going to bring it just so that, you know, people, here it is, I have it. And then I found myself in a hallway alone, and I realized that I could probably get away with skating down the hallway. And I asked my handler, who actually worked for the White House, to shoot a photo of it, and he just said, "You can't say I took this photo."
Tony, Georgie mentioned I'm a massive fan, but I'm not as big a fan as my 7.5-year-old son, Archie. So I thought I would ask him what questions he wanted to ask Tony Hawk. So the next 2 questions are from Archie. He wants to know, what's the hardest trick you've ever pulled off, and how many bones have you broken?
The hardest trick, well, the trick that took me the longest was doing a 900, because I had really chased that trick for about 5 years. One of the hardest tricks for me ever was a Kickflip Mctwist, because there's so many things happening. You've got to spin your body 1.5, you've got to flip your board, you got to catch it in midair, all while trying to figure out how to land properly. And I only made that twice ever in my life. For broken bones, I've really only broken 3 bones officially. I broke my pelvis, which is the worst bone to break. Don't ever do that if you have the choice. And my rib and my elbow.
If you want to see more of Tony, he'll be talking at the Semi-Permanent Conference in Sydney. Tony, thank you so much.
Thanks. You should come by the event. It's a blast.